Welcome to another episode of Krazy Knights, the Australian Kiss podcast, and we're doing this as a special big interview we have got coming up later in the show. But I'm one of your co-hosts, Jamie McNichol, and joining me as always is David Fowler. How you going, David?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Jamie. Very looking forward to this interview we've got coming up later in the show. It's an awesome one we did.
Yes, and we got some house chores to give away at the start. I want to say for people that listen or looked at the comment about me saying about Paul Stanley should have backup tapes. Listen, I'm a sense of humour type of person. I'm joking around, not bashing Paul and that, and being told, David, I'm not a Kiss fan and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they can say what they like, but I'm just pinching with a grain of salt. And also, the big news that came out of this week, Ace Frehley and Peter Criss had joined together for the first time in 13 years to play a couple of songs. I believe they had a better set list than what Kiss have currently got and only played 3 songs together. But I'm only joking around. They obviously sort out their differences. And
No, it was good to see them playing together again. Which hopefully it leads into something, maybe another Bad Boys tour, which I would hope if they did it again, it might come down our way to Australia. It'd be nice to see the two of them play together.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I think it was awesome just to see them brush a bit off. They still got a bit of days dust. Peter hasn't played for God knows how long, and also Ace got a bit of rust as well. But as saying that, you're going to expect that. You had Scott Ian from Anthrax there playing with Ace as well for Parasite,
and Mike Portnoy, ex Dream Theater, was there as well. He joined in. Yeah, Bumblefoot. I think Billy Sheen was there as well.
Yeah, they were like the all-star band.
Yeah. Well, I know they did the double drum thing on Rock and Roll All Night with Mike Portnoy playing. I think Mike Portnoy must have been playing on Peter's kit, and because Peter was playing on Mike Portnoy's kit.
Yeah.
For that gig, or most of it at least, from what I saw. It was great to see that two great drummers playing together. You know,
and
big fan of Portnoy and Peter, obviously.
Yeah, and Michael Sweet was there with Lita Ford as well, and Sammy Hagar. There was a birthday. It wasn't a birthday bash. It was a Hard Rock Cafe Eddie Trunk bash. It was a party.
I think it was his birthday bash, actually.
Yeah, it could have been. All I've heard, it was a party at Hard Rock, and unbeknown to Eddie, that Ace and Peter was going to play. That was a big surprise. They knew they were going to be there, but they didn't actually knew that they were going to play. So that was the big surprise. And there are some video clips I put up on the podcast page on Facebook. So please go and check them out. We have got a few comments already. There's some photos there as well if you want to look at. And also, just to wrap up the news from the Kiss world, Kiss have now wrapped up their Japan tour on the Thursday night on the 24th.
I think they've only got a Canadian show up before Christmas, and that's about it now.
They've gone on to Miami for the Kiss Cruise 3.
Oh, that's the one, and that too. I just forgot about that.
I want to say to all the fans out there and to Kiss, happy sailing and
all our friends from Australia that have gone over there, Brett Bartlett, JT Cobbett, who are all over there at the moment. Have a great cruise, guys, and enjoy it.
Raise the flag, say hello, spread the news about this podcast, and you never know. We might get something back in return, like a photo or some type of announcement or whatever. But no, guys, keep safe, sail, and we'll love to hear all the stories coming back. Let's get into the house chores. People, please go to our Facebook page on Krazy Knights, the Australian Kiss podcast. You'll see us. We've reached over 500 views, likes now. People have left and some people are game just because I'm the one that's stirring the pot a bit. I don't care. If they want to leave, they can leave. I'm not holding them prisoners and that, but it is what it is. I joke around. David's the one that's a bit quiet. He doesn't like to get into any controversy. He just wants to sit on the thing. But I'll bet you any money that he's laughing his freaking head off. He said, Jamie, you're stirring it. I don't want any more crap coming. But no, it's all good. But yeah, go to our Facebook page. Go to our Podbean page. We changed the logo. We changed the picture due to other things that we've been working on. Go there.
And to make sure that we're not avoiding any copyright issues as well.
We've been told that we were, but there's other podcasts out there that do the same thing.
Well, just to be safe, you know. We're trying to do the right thing.
We won't go into the other topic that we've got told by an email, but we won't go into that. But just to clarify, there's no bootleg sold from David and I. We don't even have a link. All it was a photo that I saw on Google. I posted it up. Yes, it was a photo of 2 bootlegs that was from the 95 tour. It was a photo off Google. I posted up on our page, and we've got criticised by a certain person, not naming names, saying that we had a bootleg site. We don't have one. David and I don't have one, and we're not selling it. So we just want to clarify that. But go to our Podbean, go to our podfeed.net. We've got a page there. Episodes are going up there as well. Go to our iTunes account at Krazy Knights. Click on it. Please, so rate us. Give us a 3 to a 5-star rating. Rate us. Leave us a comment. We want to get as many ratings and whatnot so we can be a hot topic on iTunes. Our great friend from Three Sides of the Coin has been a hot on iTunes. We want to salute Three Sides and that, but if we don't get there, we don't get there. Also, go to our... Yeah, good to see Three Sides of the Coin is waving the flag and raising the banner for them, for the KISS world out there. And we're not trying
they're doing great shows, guys. So keep up with them as well, because they're doing a great show.
Yeah, we're not trying to compete with them. We just do things a little bit different, you know. If the fans want to compete with them or with another podcast, let them. But in all hindsight, we're not trying to compete with anybody. We're only just trying to compete with ourselves. Make it better, make it fresher, and all that. Go to our podfeed.net. That's another page that we've got. Go to Spreaker. We want to get 100 followers. So please, people, follow us on Spreaker. You can also download it as well on your MP3 or your Android or smartphone. You can download everything that's up there. So if you're a cell phone for American listeners, if you're a cell phone or if you're Australian, your mobile, you can transfer it onto your cell phone. But with all that, please go to all our pages, go to our iTunes as well, do all that. And also, David, before we get going onto this week's topic, we do have shirts coming along. And we're getting some interest from people that want to get the shirt. So we've got to get our act together. I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks, David.
Yeah.
With the plan of that, putting it into print and whatnot. And we're also working on another item as well. We're not going to give it away, what the item is. We are looking at some avenues and that. And David and I are going to have like a little of a office meeting in a couple of weeks' time. I'm meeting David.
Talk over at my place, yes.
No, we're not going to your place. We're going to the KISS house. The KISS house.
Oh, yeah, my house, the KISS house.
Yeah. But no, I'll be seeing David in a couple of weeks' time. We'll probably even do another episode in Melbourne like we did last time.
Really? Okay.
It didn't work last time due to the fact that I didn't have my headphones set. But I'm bringing it with me this time, plus a few other goodies as well. And David knows what they are. But we better get onto this show, David. Now, how are we going to introduce this show, David?
Well, let's just say this lady that we are interviewing is very much part of the KISS family. She's the sister of probably, I'd say, my favourite member of the band. We're talking about Loretta Carravello, who's obviously the sister of Eric Carr.
Yes.
It was a great interview we did earlier today. So yeah, let's get on to it and let the people enjoy it.
Yeah. So guys, this is a very long interview. We apologise for that, but you have to take it from us.
It's approximately around about an hour and a half long.
Yeah. It's audio. We will ring in Loretta Carr on a home phone. We're not going to give out the phone number to the listeners, but...
No. No.
But we're going to do the magic ball. We're going to go from the video to audio, and we're going to come back and wrap it up as video. So, guys, please, listen to it, and great stories involved as well. So, we'll be back and to tell you more. Welcome. So go and check it out. We've got an awesome, very, very huge special guest for Krazy Knights, the Australian Kids podcast. It's probably the biggest interview that we ever have on our show, and a special guest. And David, it's great to have you joining with me as well. This is more so towards you, not just for myself. This is for you as well, David.
Very much looking forward to this one.
Yes, and this is a great honour all the way from America. It's Eric Carr's sister, Loretta Carr. How you going, Loretta?
Hey, how's everybody over there? You make me sound so important. Why are you doing that? I'm just sitting in my living room eating ices. That's about it, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm very important. I got to come down from that cloud. That introduction was great.
I have to say, with the Carr bloodstream, you still got that sense of humour like Eric has. You're very great. It's very good. Very laid back.
Thank you.
So, David, I just
have to... Come on, keep going.
David, there's been a lot of stories, and we're coming up to another anniversary very shortly of Eric Carr's death, but that's for later in the show. Right now, we want to talk about the Fox in general, and Eric Carravello, who was later abbreviated to Eric Carr, just a shortened version of his last name. And David, you've always been an Eric Carr fan yourself.
Definitely,
and you were 9 years old in 1980. Just ask Loretta. I'll pass it over to you first.
Yep.
Just ask Loretta straight up. Your personal memories of Eric Carr.
Well.
Do you want me to answer that, or David? That's you, David?
Do you want me to answer that, Jamie?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, for me, God, I've just got to say that to me, he was my favourite because he was the most friendly towards us fans. As far as if we went up to him and all that, as I remember, Bruce saying he'd talk to you like he knew you for. Like forever and all that, and he's only known you for like 5 minutes. But to me, his whole drumming style, to me, he's always been my favourite member of the band, or my favourite drummer from the three of them. Because to me, I think he could have played any style of music, even like thrash metal. He could have been a member of Metallica. He's that good. So yeah, that's I was sad that he's still not with us, but thank God he's still looking.
No, the music is there. Yeah, I mean, thank God for YouTube. You can just go up there and he comes to life, and he comes to life through the fans. I mean, every day I get emails from kids, 10, 11 years old, that their parents were fans of my brothers, and it's just another generation that's really discovering him, and it's great. It really is. He was great at what he did. Loved it.
What age did he really start playing the drums back at home? Did he actually? Because he was always seemed to be a multi-instrumentalist. Did he ever play like guitar or bass at home when he was young?
Well, he basically we started, all of us, in 1964 when the Beatles came out, and he first was taking up the guitar and I was taking the drums. Okay, so of course he always had to do what I had to do, it's your brother. I'm kidding. And he took the drums and I took the guitar, and he used to stay in his room. He had a small room, I'm not exaggerating, it was like 10 feet by maybe 7 feet, not even that big. And he put his drums behind the door, and he would practice every day. But first he started with just regular pots and pans. He never had drums. He had just, like what you would do when you were little, just put a pot and a pan down. Especially Italian people, they always have the saucepans and all that kind of stuff. So he made his own little drum kit. But as the years went by, he started taking up the guitar, and he played bass guitar. He would practice in the room. He was across from me, actually. He had to go through my bedroom to get into his bedroom.
So, Loretta Carr, in his early days, he played in other bands or other R&B bands, especially on the Tale of the Fox. They were talking about the R&B bands leading into the audition for Kiss.
Right.
For you, being in the household, how did that transition change from his style of music that he was playing in the 60s, early and the 70s, compared to when he auditioned to Kiss?
I got to tell you, it was not any different in terms of who he was. Like, it was the same in the house. We all got up in the morning. We all went to work. My mother worked in a dress shop. I worked in a dress shop. My father delivered stoves. And my brother would just get up, and he'd go rehearse with Kiss. It was like he never changed. There was really no difference in the house, attitude-wise or anything else. I mean, I was a little excited because I'd get some phone calls, from Paul Stanley and stuff. You pick up the phone, Paul Stanley's on the other end, It's like, oh, this is cool. But other than that, he never changed because he lived with us for a lot of years. When he got into Kiss, he didn't really have he had apartments off and on, but he was always back home with us. That happens when you're a kid, right? Or a child. Mommy will always take you back home. And that was it.
And it's true what Eric said. When he went to that audition for Kiss, he always knew that he would do well. He knew that he had the job, but he wanted to be that humble that it was just another job for him. He just went along and played his best, and I believe he also asked the guys for their autograph. Is that true, Loretta?
Yeah, that's true. That's as a matter of fact, it popped up somewhere on eBay. I don't know how it flew out somewhere, but somebody actually had the letter that was signed. So
wow.
Who knows where it came from? The moon, maybe it fell off a tree somewhere and somebody got it. But let's put it that way. It was on eBay, and somebody sold it. But it's true that was not a lie. He actually, didn't think he was going to get in. He knew he was good. He knew he did good, but you had a lot of other people there. There were different. I don't know. Somebody even said Ringo auditioned. I'm not buying into that, but who knows? You never know.
Now, with the audition tapes, I mean, there is a bootleg out there, and also on the Eric Carr Unfinished Business album, the audition tape, like for Shandy and some other songs, was that recorded at home, or was that done in another studio?
That was recorded upstate New York in a small studio about an hour from my parents, and it was just a couple of his friends. One of his friends had a studio, and he did the demo tape, and he, fortunately for me, because I put the CD together, he did the vocals on a different track than he did the music. That's how we were able to isolate the song and redo the music. But no, that was done just on a regular cassette in a small studio. And it's probably long gone, the original, because, it's like anything else. It's like you sitting in your room and recording something, and you say, I hate that, and then you use the same tape to, put ABBA on it, you know what I mean? And that's it.
Yeah.
You do like ABBA, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a little.
All right.
I would.
I would.
I would. I mean, David, you know me. I would.
Yeah, I know.
But there's another question. When they came to Australia, he was basically accepted with, I won't say open arms and open legs. That's the way that Paul would say it, but
yeah, you're probably right about that. So you don't have to apologize. I think Paul was right, you know.
Yeah, but it's a bit different when someone replaces another member, whether it be Peter Criss or Eric Singer coming into band playing this Catman now, and how all the debacle and all the debate about Eric Singer's in the band. But with Eric Carr, I should say, that really didn't happen here in Australia, did it, David? Never really.
No.
I don't think Peter toured there, right? Peter never toured in Australia.
Not until.
No, right? He never did. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was like the Beatles.
Yeah.
It was the first person that they saw the kids was my brother.
Yeah.
So naturally, that was what was normal to their eyes. Then, if he would have gone and 5 years later Peter would have came, they would have said, "Oh, where's the original guy, Eric?" Because that's all they saw.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in '77 they were rumored to come to Australia when they did the Budokan the very first time, and they obviously
Peter was there.
Peter was there. 70s. Peter didn't leave until apparently left about 79. So
around 1980 or early 1980. Would have been early 1980.
No, or I heard 79 around about July 79 or something. But
well, all I know is he'd done the video shoot for Shandy, but never played on the album.
Oh, well, technically, I mean, it's like his last performance apparently with the live performance with Kiss was about 79 on the Dynasty tour, but as far as I know, about July 79.
Right.
And then, we all know that he had the other demons in his life, and he's cleaned them up now, and good to see that Ace and Peter on the same stage after 13 years just recently with the Eddie Trunk Party down at Hard Rock Cafe. But with Eric Carr, when he was first announced on TV, especially on the Countdown special for 1980, it just opened up another realm. There was a new character, a new makeup design. I mean, the Hawk. Let's talk about the Hawk makeup. Before it came down to the Fox, it was basically the Hawk, and he wasn't happy with that, was he, Loretta?
No, he looked like, they used to say he looked like Big Bird. Did you ever see Sesame Street? And he really did. I don't think anybody was really happy with that. I think it was Gene who came up with the Fox. I do. I don't want to give him credit, but I think it was. And then my brother was actually the one who took it a step further, because after he did the original makeup, he noticed that you couldn't really see his face from far on the stage. So he put the white strip in it, and that's the way it ended up, because then you could see him. But everybody had a hand, basically, in the makeup. And the Hawk outfit, I think they sold that at auction at Butterfield's, and somebody bought it. It was horrible. I don't know if you saw that Butterfield's auction.
Okay. They did have, I think, that Hawk costume when they did the first convention tours here in Australia, '95.
Funny. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're right. They did have that. Yep.
Yeah,
I
did that.
They sold it at Butterfield's and auction, and somebody bought it. It was horrible. But could you imagine him coming out like that, with like a chicken? I mean,
nah.
With the boots on. I mean, come on, that's comical.
Exactly.
But they hit the right one. The Fox.
But just putting some light on that subject with the Hawk makeup, maybe he could have been the new mascot for a chicken burger place or something down the road. Who knows?
Like we have over here. We have them over here too in the States. Yeah.
But no, going on to
It's like what you see outside, of a chicken place, and they wave to you when you're driving by, that kind of deal.
Yeah. But going on to the TV, the Countdown special, it really showed Eric, the fans that really supported him, got behind it, especially here in Australia, the transition from Peter Criss to Eric Carr, sorry, was just an instant. We accepted him, we loved him, we embraced him, and
he loved Australia too. Let me tell you, he loved it. I mean,
yeah. Well, let's just talk a little briefly on Australia. I do hear a story, and this is coming from my mum who went to the 1980 concert about how Eric Carr. So I've got Eric Singer on my mind at the moment. There's too many Erics in the band.
Really?
Eric Carr. Eric Carr. He was in the hotel room, and not only that, they used to fill up the whole top floor, the first top 6, probably the whole building. And Eric looked out the window one night, and there was a homeless person walking down by the streets, and we know the mistake that Kiss have to hide their identity without makeup, but with Eric, he went downstairs and gave the guy his food from the hotel. And that's what touched me. He was a guy that he couldn't care if he was a megastar or he was in one of the big top bands on the world at the time. He saw a beggar walking along, and the heart and the generosity from...
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
And that's why, in 23 years he's been gone, right? Only in the band, but he's around. And you never really heard anything bad about him. You only heard good. And it's unusual. I mean, he wasn't an angel, a guy is a guy, you know what I mean? But it's like, usually when somebody dies, then 3-4 years later you start hearing all the dirt.
No.
Okay, and you really haven't heard. I haven't heard anything unusual out of the ordinary from my brother. Even the worst is the best, if you know what I mean. Women or girls, you know what I'm saying. He was a guy. I laughed because it's like that's a guy for you. Who in their right mind wouldn't be in that position?
Yeah, and Dave and I had a lot of discussions. I have not heard since I've been a Kiss fan, one debate or one bad thing to say any fan will say about Eric Carr.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You haven't heard that in 23 years. You haven't heard that.
Yeah,
and you never will.
Well, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, well, that's true. You'll never will. But
because if it's not out now, it ain't going to be out. Because don't worry, there's all the gold diggers and all the the juicy storytellers that would have been out right away.
Exactly. And I mean, there's people bashing Paul about his voice. I mean, I did a bit of a joke on our podcast page, and people basically bash me about it. And I'm saying, well, I'm being truthful, but I'm trying to put a little bit of a spin on it, trying to be a humorous type of person.
Right.
But no, you can't talk to Paul like that. You can't talk to Gene about that, or you can't talk about Ace like that. But with Eric, you can. I mean, you can have a joke and you can take it so far. But as David knows, Eric is so close to our hearts, and I to this day, even almost 23 years after his passing, I have not heard one bad thing, even when he joined the band in 1980. Not one bad thing about... I mean, there is some things about Eric, but that was about the politics side. He wasn't comfortable about the...
Well, everybody's human. If you're going to work... When I work at my job and you work at your job, you don't always like what you do.
No,
There's always somebody that's a pain in the butt that you say, I wish they'd shut up, or, oh my God, we're all human. Nobody's 100%, and he loved what he did. He would never give it up for the world, but not everything is hunky-dory 24 hours a day.
No.
Yeah. He had his opinion on things, and he had strong opinions on things.
I just want to ask you, Loretta, how did you... I don't know if you can go back into time that quick, but I just want to know, with him coming in on our Mars tour, and with the hard pounding drums he did on the Unmasked tour, then going straight into the Elder, Eric wasn't really that happy with the Elder, was he?
Which one, the Elder? Or?
The Elder.
He wasn't unhappy with it. He was more pissed off that they cut his hair. That's all he was looking at his hair, and he said, "Oh my God, look what they did to me," because when you have hair like the Unmasked tour, which was gorgeous, and then they start slicing your hair, that to most people that's their pride and joy. Rock stars, is their hair and their bodies. Wow, they look good.
Yeah.
But the music went into a different direction. I'm sure at that point, he didn't hate it. He wrote a song for it. He was delighted. But the fans just didn't accept it. And me, I basically think when I listen to that album, it's one of the best they have. And I think it's because the fans matured, because the fans right away, oh man, it's not, heavy metal enough, oh, they stink. But as you get older, you mellow out and you start to understand what each thing is. So when you get older, I'm like, 59, I'm still young, but, you start to understand the things that bothered you before. You say, oh, that's right. I'm viewing it as music now. I'm not viewing it as I'm a fan, looking for this heavy metal stuff. So to me, I love that album. I mean, I think the Saint and Sinner was one of my brother's favorite songs out of all the songs he ever did. In the way of drumming, that was he loved. That was on Creatures of the Night, but I'm just saying, out of all the songs, where you would never think, something like Saint and Sinner, you'd probably think of something more heavier, but that was his favorite song.
Yeah, I would have thought something maybe like The Oath or Creatures itself.
King of the Mountain was good too. I think that song was great.
Exactly.
And he played that. I don't think he was crazy too much about the Krazy Knights album too much.
Okay.
I think it was too much. It was too, too poppy or something. He felt, it was not heavy enough.
There was a song. There was a song from the Rockology album. Was that actually written around the time of Krazy Knights, or was it written for, say,
which album was it?
Was the song Eyes of Love? Was that?
Eyes of Love was written to be on. I would think it was written to be around 1980. I'm trying to place that. Okay, Tierra and all of those are from the Rockheads. Eyes of Love would have probably been around 1989, because I think not Tierra, but Somebody's Waiting was going to be on Hot in the Shade, but they picked Forever instead. So that was meant for Hot in the Shade.
Thought it was around. To me, actually, I could have seen it actually fitting in on Revenge as well. That it seems that sort of heavy and ballsy, that song, that I reckon it could have even been on Revenge. If it,
a lot of songs that he wrote were passed up when they were better than a lot of the garbage they had on some of them. I mean, if you look at Tierra, if you look at Somebody's Waiting, that's a beautiful song. I mean, he did every single piece of harmony. He did each part of harmony. The only thing he didn't do was Bruce played the lead, and that was it. But everything you hear is my brother, and but that's the way it is. It's a business to a degree, and you have a boss, and you got to listen to the boss. So, but I'm glad the music got out later, because I know when he passed away, I don't know I know his views were basically he wanted the Rockheads to get out as animated, and he was working hard because that was probably going to have to be his income. But he never got to release the music, and I'm glad we were able to do that, because it showed people how really, really talented he was.
Well, that's the question I want to ask. Do you think Gene and Paul reserved Eric, because with the Rockology CD, there's a lot of great recordings there, great songs like Nightman and Eyes of Love and Somebody's Waiting.
Tierra, Somebody's Waiting.
Yeah,
you have a lot of great stuff there. It's like I said, it's you got to go with what they choose. They're the bosses, and they made the band. And they had a lot of good songs, but me personally, I like a lot of the stuff my brother did. It's my brother. But I think a lot of the fans love some of those songs too and can't understand why they weren't utilized better.
Yeah. Well, there's one song very early on when just not long after Eric Carr joined the band was on Lick It Up, All Hell's Breaking Loose.
Yeah. That was a good song.
Yeah, Eric wrote that along with the other guys. Now, did he actually sing on that during the demo?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. All Hell's Breaking Loose. Yeah, I think he. Well, no, I mean Paul Stanley sang it. I don't think my brother sang it. You mean like when they were just practicing it? I never heard anything about that, and I'm pretty sure, throughout the years I would have known about that.
Yeah.
And I would have known when he was alive. He talked. But he loved the song, but I never heard him mention he did any singing on the demo for that. He did Little Caesar. Daddy did.
Yeah, Little Caesar was Ain't That Peculiar was the demo for it too.
Yeah, then I put the other version on Unfinished Business, which nobody heard. That's a totally different one. And there's even more. There's a couple of different versions that he had. I mean, I have some demos, a lot of demos of stuff that he recorded, but it's not finished or, so maybe someday I'll put some of that out.
Well, that's it. There was another song on Unfinished Business with Mark St. John that was not completed. I read the inlet book.
Yeah. There was the song Midnight Stranger. That's the one that Mark gave me.
Yeah.
He gave
that
me
was
that.
Back in 2007, that was, wasn't it?
I'm sorry?
That Mark St. John one was not completed. I think Mark St. John did the guitars in 2007 just before he died.
Well, no, what he was working with me on it. And he was going to put some leads into it, and I had sent it to him. And, we were going back and forth for a little while, and then, well, he's gone, It's like, why? Dummy, Bad.
Yeah.
You just get sad because he was such a nice guy, You just wonder why people do what they do sometimes. I don't know really why he passed away, but, I don't think it was drugs. I don't know what they said, really, but, I saw him a couple of times, and he was always nice to the family, and lastly, when, we were doing the song together, I mean, he was awesome. His mother and father, what a pleasure they are. Yeah. Really nice people. So.
Now, I just want to go on to a story. At your mum and dad's house, there was like a little time capsule in the backyard that Eric built for himself. He'd collect all these, whether it was little pics and bobs or letters or photos, and just made a little time capsule. Is that time capsule still there?
Actually, we knocked it down and took it out. And it's a secret what's inside.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting, it's a little letter and stuff. And it's something that's, there's no sense, we gave it to my mother. You know what I mean? But that was just something he did because he figured if 1,000 years from now somebody dug it up, they'd be able to see it. But he did build that barbecue grill. He did.
There would have been a lot of good things in there too, and some X-rated stuff from the fans as well.
Well, he was going to explain it to Martians, you know what I mean? He was waiting for the Martians to come 100 years from now, But, that was his clever idea, and he put a few interesting things in there.
Yeah. I've got a question that's been speculated for a while now, and it's been highly rumoured among some other Kiss fans, just not from David and I, but other Kiss fans. I just want to get some clarification in this. Did Vinnie Vincent trademark or own the copyright for the Fox makeup? Because I have seen a document on internet. Don't know if it's legit. I'm not saying it's legit. I've just found one and had his name on it. And just recently in 2012, he lost the rights for it. I just want to clarify or ask you, Loretta, was that that absolute truth, or that is absolutely a false statement?
To tell you the truth, I don't know. I think Kiss owns it. That's my opinion. It's a very, very, very gray area with the makeup. The last I saw, didn't they have like a copyright Kiss on that? It looked to me like it was the makeup. You know, when they were selling the plaques and everything. Mm-hmm. With the you know, that I can't shed light. I think that's an ongoing fight that they have for years.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I mean, I use the makeup sometimes with products that I put out. Okay, so
yeah,
nobody ever bothers me. Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really knows. Somebody owns it, or you know, it's my brother underneath there, but it's makeup. So when you have my brother's face, which if you don't own his likeness, then you don't own the face that makes the makeup. But you own the makeup.
Exactly.
You know, it's like tricky.
Exactly.
It was always called a gray area.
Yeah, and I was talking to the producer just last month about it, and I'm saying, well, I found this on the internet, and it looks a bit black and white here. I don't know if it's legit. It came from a U.S. government office, and it was signed on his name and had Vinnie Vincent P.O. box addressed on there. I'm not going to show the other listeners around the world because it's none of my business. But if he did, he did. I just can't understand why Kiss haven't brought out like any memorabilia like with the Eric Carr makeup. I know they've
maybe they just, you know, they might be doing their thing with not wanting to have anybody else, you know, be Kiss, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how they argue with things. It's like maybe, you know, they want to just establish the look of the four guys, the original look,
four. Yeah.
So that it becomes, you know, it's a business. It actually is a business.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, that's
so
right.
if you start introducing other faces, it's not such a good business. So they did a lot of that after he passed away. They went back to the four original look, and you know, even if you look at stuff on the website, the majority of the stuff you'll see is always of the four original members. But like I said, it's a business, and you know, they want to establish their identity for the new generation.
That is what you just said there, Loretta. That is absolutely true, because they've gone back to the original, because that's the four original, well, iconic four faces that anyone will know. You won't necessarily have to know the band name, identify it like Gene or Paul. They're the Demon, they're the Spaceman, and that. And even just recently, they've taken away the Ace and Peter and put the Tommy and Eric and selling them more as that persona. Just recently, there's more Tommy Spaceman, or there's more Eric as a Catman rather than Peter Criss as a Catman or Ace Frehley as a Spaceman. The issue with the names, you know, it could be they call my brother the Fox. They don't use the name Eric Carr because they don't own the name Eric Carr in conjunction with his face. So, you know, they keep it safe. That's why they did the creatures basically with the toy, from my understanding. They went with the creatures because they called it just the Fox. Yeah.
You know, like I said, it's a very, very gray area. And, you know.
That was very interesting when they brought out the Creatures of the Night. I don't know if you know, David. They brought the Creatures of the Night set dolls. They had the Dynasty Unmasked costumes. For the Eric Carr, he's wearing a red cape. Now, our good friend of ours...
I think I've seen them,
Yeah, I've got a photo of it. I've actually got a photo of the Eric Carr one that I've actually purchased. Mm-hmm. It's got the fur coat, got the red jacket with the fur coat, but behind, on the back side, it's the red cape. I know where the person or whoever manufactured these dolls got the idea from the People magazine, when Gene's standing behind Eric, and they thought that Eric wearing a cape. It was actually Gene's red cape, so they put the red cape on Eric as well. And there was a little bit of confusion, but I knew where they were coming from, and yeah,
right.
I've still got it.
That's interesting.
Also, yeah, Eric Carr's got the red cape, and I know for a fact he never wore a red cape, and it's on the doll.
No. Well,
but,
yeah, you know more about my brother than I do. Sure, you didn't grow up with us? I don't know. You know a lot of history. Me, I don't know. I know history, but not like you Kiss fans know, because he just was my brother in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really didn't pay too much attention to. I just collected books and stuff, basically, or whatever he'd give me from the tours, which was nice stuff. Yeah.
Now, before we go on to the anniversary of Eric Carr's death, I just want to ask one thing. I know Bruce Kulick was organising around the time like a memorial musical event, the same way as Freddie Mercury had at the Wembley Stadium, and that. Why did that never eventuate? Because we had this Mark Slaughter from Slaughter wanted to do it. They had other bands already lined up for the one to do it. Bruce Kulick was trying to get something going, but from stories or rumors, Paul and Jean basically said, no, we're not going to do it. Can you clarify that?
I don't even remember anything like that with Bruce Kulick. I remember, I think Gary Corbett was gonna put together a concert at the China Club in New York City. It's a lot of red tape to do those kind of things, you know. It's not as easy as just saying to people play and come, because then you start getting into all the rules and the regulations and the baloney. You know how that goes, the politics of things. Mm-hmm. But to the best of my knowledge, to me, I have never heard of Bruce putting it together. No. Gary Corbett, he was the keyboard player in Hot in the Shade, very good friend to my brother. And not to say that it's not true that Bruce didn't say that, but I never heard that. I heard only basically Gary Corbett was trying to set something up. Yeah. And those things are not easy. And then with Freddie Mercury passing away on the same day, it kind of overshadowed my brother. And I would have thought but what you're thinking, what happens are two different things. But I thought maybe they would mention my brother's name at least to tell you know what I'm saying. They could have mentioned his name at the concert too. That another person died. Eric Carr, but like I said, there's a lot of politics involved with that stuff. It's not everything it appears to be.
Yeah, and even now till today, the radio stations here in Australia will not even mention Eric Carr on that day. They'll mention Freddie Mercury, but we're trying to get them to recognise that, hey, it was not just Freddie Mercury. Even though he was a megastar himself, I give him that credit.
Right.
But Eric Carr, to us, was a megastar as well.
No, Kiss has always been taboo to people, even in the States. Kiss has always been like the devil and the this and the that. And, it's always been like they've never really been recognized as a great band. And even, with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominating them, it's just par for the course, because now they have no choice, because they can't ignore them much longer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's even on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame website, they've got that little thing where you can vote for for who you want to get in, and Kiss, I think at the moment are about 10. The second, they're about 10,000 votes behind Nirvana at the moment. They're by far the two.
Oh, I don't
most
think
voted.
this is going to get in this year. No, I don't think this is getting in.
No.
But this is the first time they've been nominated, so I think eventually, how they go through these things, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it'll take at least 10 years before, they nominate them. But at least they're in the pool now, when they weren't at all.
Yeah. It's been,
so who's leading on that? Who's
leading? Nirvana by about 10,000
well,
votes.
That figures. That figures,
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
I know why Nirvana's up there, Dave. Gina was having a bit of a spat a couple of weeks ago about Kurt Cobain not being an icon.
No, he was really, it's a shame the way that he had to go, take his life like that. I mean, that's horrible.
Exactly.
Horrible.
But
the music, you just got to appreciate. That's why you can't look into, you could have people that are really, really nasty people, and they do something really great. So you just got to, try to just block, unless it hurts somebody else. I mean, if you're going to hurt somebody else, then we don't have to, respect you. But if you're just doing it, that's the way you are, and you're not hurting anybody else, then just recognize them for what they give you in terms of, like, software or Google or whatever, You can't get into people's past or backgrounds, or else you'd be very disappointed, because no one's perfect, really.
No.
Well, as we're on that subject of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, if they do get inducted, do you feel, Loretta, that they should honour your brother as well? Because he is a massive part of KISS as well.
We think
I don't know if they're going to, to me, that's a mystery that it is to you. I even asked Bruce, if they get nominated and they get in, is my brother going to be there? Or are you going to be there? I don't know. Nobody really knows.
Yeah.
I mean, it would only be right if he was, because, you can't just disregard 10 years of music, and Bruce was in the band like 12.
Exactly.
So I have a good feeling in my gut that, it would probably be the majority of the original, but, there'd be some kind of recognition. You can't ignore that. It's all about the history.
Exactly.
Of the band. You have Fleetwood Mac, and Fleetwood Mac, you have, I think the guy is Peter Green, that first... and I think he's there in the Hall of Fame with them too. Even if it's a small recognition, you have to go where it starts. You can't ignore the history.
Exactly. I think how the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame works. I mean, you got to be eligible after 25 years since your first recording of the album.
Which means
right?
KISS have been eligible for about since
99.
99 or something. So
99. But how they monitored that, I mean, when they all got nominated back in 2009, they're only going to be inducted in as the 4 originals. Now, it's pretty ludicrous how the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame works it out, because Van Halen got in, and they were all there. Metallica got in. They were all there bar Chris. And
Chris?
Oh,
you mean
I think it's politics again, I think it's politics again. It's just who they like and who they don't like, or, the flavor of the day, you know what I mean? And eventually everybody will get in, and, if you make everything too easy, then nobody wants to be in. So they kind of hang certain people out for years and years and years. There's a lot of people that deserve to be in there that aren't in there.
Oh, of course.
And vice versa, to be honest, that didn't really accomplish that much, and they're in there.
I reckon. I think they will agree on this, that every surviving or passed on members, anybody that's been involved in KISS should be recognised.
Oh yeah. Maybe not all be up there, but at least recognised as being part of the band, and their contributions to it.
Yeah.
Everybody, Vinny, everybody. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Without the 80s, there's no 90s. Without the 90s, there's no reunion. I mean, it is what it is. You can't just skip over 20 some odd years. If you total in from when the original band started to the reunion tour, which lasted a couple of years, you're talking only about 7 years. And if they've been around 30 years, what happened to the other 22?
Exactly.
So you have to recognize everybody, and I want to believe that that's the way it's going to be done. I don't think they would just skip. You can't, or you don't fill up any glass displays. You're missing too much.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just to say, Eric Carr was in the band longer than Peter Criss before they came back for the reunions.
Well, that was a very important time of their history, because you got to remember the band broke up, basically. Then they pulled themselves together, and then they removed their makeup. So how could you not acknowledge the time that this big fundamental thing took place.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that was a big part in their history.
And did quite very well during that period as well, as far as album sales and that goes.
Oh yeah, they did good. I mean, there were a few stinkers, but overall, the last album, Hot in the Shade, before he passed away, was doing great, and they were starting to surge back. They were selling out arenas and everything in the States, something they didn't do for many years. So, as destiny has it, there was a master plan, and that's the way it ends up.
Well, I just love to remember Eric Carr with his massive hair that he had. The big afro.
Yeah.
He had an afro before he had an afro before he joined Kiss, but the hair.
He had
you
more.
probably want.
Yeah, he had
you can't really
down to his waist. My brother. Yeah.
And he also had a mo as well before he joined Kiss as well.
Oh, he had everything. He had an afro. He had
the big afro. Yeah.
The big hair. He had the long, Starship, Jefferson Airplane kind of hair all the way down to his waist with the beard and everything. That's when he was in Creation and Mother Nature Father Time. He has a long history, my brother, of music. I mean, you don't have to dig too far to see that he was in so many bands, and actually his background in bands, I think, is the most extensive of any of the members, because if you look at Gene and Paul and all the other guys, you got, Wicked Lester, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a couple of other bands that it doesn't roll, the fans don't really know. But when you look at my brother's history, the Solomon, Salt and Pepper, Creation, Bionic Boogie, fans know of that history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They are familiar with that history. So Peter, I bet you can't name 2 bands he was in, or 3 bands, or Vinny, right? But that's after, not when they were before Kiss.
Yeah, I mean, I can name Chelsea with Peter, but that's about it off the top of my head.
But they don't look off your tongue. It's not part of his history. But I believe I'm sorry.
I believe he also was going into managing bands at one stage.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I believe he was going into management at once. He was managing bands at one stage. He managed an all-female thrash band or something at one stage.
Well, he managed a band called Harry Carey, which was a female thrash band, and one of them was his girlfriend, and they were really phenomenal. I mean, there's some music out with them. Then he managed a band called New York, which was really good. But the most he did was with his Rockhead animation, and that's starting to come out, and it might be out next year. We're working on something with cartoons, and
cool.
Look for it. It might be out there in theaters or something. We're hoping.
Nice.
We're hoping. You've been there, done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I see it, I'll believe it. But this one looks real promising from what we're working with.
Good.
And that's where the music, from the rockology came from, was from the Rockettes.
Mm-hmm.
All those characters. But Okay.
Now, David,
yeah. Don't fall asleep on me, all right? I know you're tired.
No.
I'm just I'm waiting for David. But David, you want to share a story, and we'll go into the anniversary just after this story. But you want to share a story to the listeners and also with Loretta about a certain prized possession that you've got.
Well, as we were sort of talking off air, when Eric or Paul passed away, I had a friend, April Smith, which Loretta knows, who was putting together a memorial for Eric, and she mentioned it to me, and so I sent over the obituary notices from the local papers from fans, and so to give to her to put towards the project. Now, lo and behold, about a few months later, I received a card in the mail from. I've still got it stored in the garage there. It had one of the cards from the funeral, and it had a little message on the back from you, Loretta, saying how much he loved his Australian fans and thank you and everything. So I was very touched to get that at that stage. Even to this day.
Well, that was his card. Yeah, that was what he was getting made when he was sick. He that was left on the. Well, there was one that was made from my family, basically thanking everybody, and then there was one that was made with his picture, where it's actually from him. I got it in my hand.
I think I've got
one. Hi, dude. Let's keep rocking. Thanks for the kindness and support.
No, I think the one I got was from the family one, from the family of Eric Carr.
From the family we wish to express. But he actually made a card also that he wrote, and he had the picture all picked out for it, and it was laying on his living room table, and he never got to complete it to get it printed, and he was going to send those out. So I got those made also and sent them out to the fans too.
Nice.
Because it meant a lot to him. It was a big decision. I mean, he had stuff laid all out on the table of how he wanted it set up, and it was like a big thing. And he wanted to thank every single fan that gave their support. So I said, this is something that's undone, and it's something that he wanted to do. So when someone passes that you love, you try to fulfill what they wanted as much as you can. But the ones we sent out were from our heart also, because the kids were great. Everybody was great.
Yeah, just an amazing story that David has shared with me when I first met David. I'm saying, you're joking, right? And he actually showed it to me, and I'm saying, David, do not lose this. Do not lose it.
No, save it, David. Save it. Yeah, because it's it's meant from the heart, and
there's a prize projection I have from Eric Carr, and I found this on just browsing on eBay. It was the promo bass pick for Rockology. Now, there weren't many made at that time.
Right.
And, yes, Eric played bass on Rockology as well. And the very first song that he did play bass, I believe, was I Still Love You of Creatures of the Night. I've still got this, and I'm saying, man, after all these years, and I only found this about 3 years ago, was a Rockology promo guitar pick, and I believe there weren't many sold with the CD of Rockology, but I managed to get one, and I've still got it sitting in my
Yeah, there weren't too many made of those. There was, I think, a tortoise shell and maybe a white one or something. Those were made by the
I've got the white one. It looks like it's got a rock head type of figure at the front, and it's got his signature on the back of the guitar pick.
Yeah.
But I've got that,
Keith
and
LaRue
also
did that. Keith LaRue did him, right? Yeah.
And also I do have unfinished business, and I have to say, wow.
You like
what
it?
a great.
Yeah, I was all right. I mean, like I tried to get together whatever he left, and that's why it's called Unfinished Business. And it wasn't me. It was like everybody that helped was like fabulous. I mean, Ted Poley and Bruce helped me, and the drummer from Seether, who was a huge fan of my brother's, and ZO2. I mean, we worked with what we had to work with, and I think it came out phenomenal. It was really cool. That's why you talk about the audition tape, and he actually isolated his vocals, and the original tape we had was very sluggish, because years those cassettes get old, and it was like a little more of a slur. And as it progressed, I mean, you could still hear a little bit of sluggishness, but it's a million times better than what it originally was. And everybody worked hard, and yeah, I'm kind of proud of it. I think it's pretty cool. I wish I could have did more, but that's it. And it's just something to give the fans a taste of what's out there.
And I love the passage you wrote in that booklet near the back there to your brother. I hope I've done the best I could. And for me personally, Loretta, you've done a splendid job. You can only do what you could do.
Thank you.
You know, you've done a splendid job. I'm cranking it up every time when I get into a dull moment and just think about Eric Carr, you know. Or Kiss. If it's not Kiss music, it'll be Eric Carr. If it's not Eric Carr, I'll put a Kiss music. So it's all Kiss for me.
Well, that's nice
it's all
of you.
Kiss.
That's really cool. I mean, there's so much bootleg, out there. I mean, I'm not condoning bootlegs, but I mean, there's an endless array of stuff of my brother that's out there, from every single band he was in, all the way to Creation, to Bionic Boogie, to Salt and Pepper, So
that's a question. Sorry for jumping in just there. I just want to ask: is there any other material laying around from Eric Carr that could be transformed into another CD down the track or another catalogue?
Well, there's not much, because I won't go into why, but there's not much, but there is much. So, but I don't have access to it.
Okay.
And Kiss doesn't either, so it has nothing to do with them. But there was a lot of stuff. It's just we can't find it. But what I have is some demos of like the stuff from Rockology mostly. The only demo I had actually was the Little Caesar. I found that on some tapes that Bruce had given me. And, but all the other demos are like different Tiara versions and different Can You Feel It? And so, I mean, the kids probably would enjoy it, you know what I'm saying? I hear it all the time, so to me it's like no big deal. Like, oh my God, I don't really want to listen to this again. But from a fan's perspective, they would sit there and say, oh my God, look at this, And I'm saying, but it's only a demo. And that's why I could never figure out that stuff, because I'm not a huge Kiss fan in terms of that I had to listen to all that. But Kiss fans love it, so I tried to think out of the box and say, sure, I probably have enough to put out another one. But it's not an easy thing to do. I swore after I did this one, I'd never do another one again. I swear, with so much work and so much organizing, and I think it's good just the way it is. If I put out anything, it would probably be like a 4-song EP, a little one, where there's just 4 songs.
Yeah.
And you could pick it up for $6 or something, just an exclusive little release or something. We have a lot of interviews and things like that, but there's not much. There's songs that were like Elephant Man, where he wrote the lyrics. I have 3 songs where he wrote the lyrics, new songs that I found. 2 of them are from 1980. And we have songs where he wrote the chords.
Okay.
So you can do the same kind of principle where you say to somebody, here, take these words and complete it, or take this music and write lyrics. So, but I may just release them as they are and just let the kids enjoy them with the lyrics and the music, and see what they could come up with themselves, in their imagination. But there is stuff, but it's who knows where it is.
Yeah. Well, like I keep saying to David, there should be especially Kiss themselves, both Gene and Paul, to recognise Eric a lot more than what they do, especially in the box set that came out. I do believe, and this came back from Gene on our Twitter account for our podcast, they are going to do another 40th anniversary box set.
Oh, are they going to do that? They're going to do that?
Yeah. But there's no official
It's probably
things that going to come.
Yeah, it's probably an idea that they're thinking about whether they do it or not.
Well, it's going to be their 40th year?
The 40th, 40th year from the, technically it's the 40th year this year from their first performance.
This year's their 40th. Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
They could make a killing. I mean, they have demos and stuff. They probably have, you got to remember from when the 90s probably up, that's when people started to get interested in demos and all the bloopers and movies and stuff. So they started to refilm. They didn't film a lot in the 80s. They really didn't. They didn't even have certain concerts that they should have had in their collection. But I guess maybe they didn't really think the 80s were that great, or maybe they weren't making money.
Especially during that whole Asylum era, there's I haven't
they
seen
probably
any
just
pro shots
didn't invest the money. There was no money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and but to their dismay, I mean, and it's always 20/20 hindsight. If they would have filmed the 80s, they would have endless amount of footage to go box set after box set. Yeah. And so what happened was basically when they did Kissology 2, they really didn't have that much footage of the concert, so they had to, fans, MTV and VH1 had to get fans that had bootlegs or stuff they taped. It's a shame, it really is, but it's not, they didn't have money at that point. They really didn't. And I guess they didn't foresee themselves going on and on.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it was Paul said recently, he said talking about the band's career, that he thought that back in the early days that he'd been around for 5 years. He was only playing 5 years, and then it turned into 30 and 40 years later, and they're still going.
Yeah,
so
you don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know what's going to happen. It's like saying, do you have pairs of your brother's drumsticks? Yeah, I have a couple, but do I have 500? No. I mean, do you know somebody's going to pass? I mean, it's not the thing you think of. It's
yeah.
Now
I'm going to be very careful with the words I'm going to choose, and it's no bashing to Gene and Paul. And if I get heat from the listeners, I'll take the cop.
Be very nice. Don't get heat from anybody.
No,
I'm not.
Think before you say it. Think before you say it.
I am.
Don't put your foot in your mouth.
I've got the question, and I'm going to go with it because this is something that's been very touchful on my life since I've been brought up with Kiss and heard the stories about how Eric passed away and what led after that towards revenge. But do you think both not Ace, but I know Ace received an award on behalf of Eric Carr in '93, I believe, but with Gene and Paul, do you believe they're not recognising Eric as much as what Bruce, for instance, Bruce Kulick has been recognising Eric year after year after year? He even wrote a song about Eric Carr on the Union called Dear Friend in honouring of Eric Carr. But do you think Bruce, not just Bruce, but Gene and Paul should recognise, because I hear a story that towards Eric getting very, very sick, there was a lot of disconnection between Gene and Paul and Eric. Can you just clarify to the fans exactly that particular time, and also should Gene and Paul do something to more recognise Eric?
Well, that's a hard question. That's a loaded question, but all I can basically say is I wish they would have done more. And there was a lot of confusion at that time and a lot of emotions. And we're going to have to leave it like that because, you may want to get a letter from Gene and Paul, but I don't,
No. I certainly
there was a lot
don't want
of
to either.
Yeah. Very emotional time, very emotional for everybody.
Yeah.
Do I wish? Of course I wish. I wish they would have did a benefit concert. Why not? I mean, why not? He deserved it. But they didn't. They do recognize his passing every year. But should they have? Yeah. But it's a business. Remember, always keep that in mind. It's a business. And you're going to do for your business, we have emotional ties to it, but, they had to go forward with their business, and that's the way they saw fit. You got to make people remember the new people, not the old people.
Yeah.
Business-wise. So that's the way I look at it. Of course, I would have loved for them to do something every year for him.
Yeah.
I think it would have been great, but it just didn't work out that way. I wish they would put more product out on him. But then again, I don't know if they really can put that much out. legally, or I really don't know. There's too much, like I told you, there's too much red tape with everything involved. I don't even know my limitations sometimes, Maybe I'm overstepping the bounds when I put something out, but nobody bothers me. I don't bother anybody, and just as long as you don't go out and, put out a doll tomorrow, and call it Happy Feet Eric Carr or something, and just do something like that, But they could have,
Yeah.
That's what you're asking. Sure, would have been nice.
And just in generalization, you're not going to please every Kiss fan. I mean, there are some Kiss fans who just want a certain thing, or another one want this thing. You're not going to please everything. And I just thought, on behalf of David and myself, yes, Kiss should do some, like you just clarified then, Loretta, that they should bring out more product for Eric Carr,
nice, but maybe they can't. I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know really how that works. It's like you look at Ace and Peter, and they can put out products because they have probably a different kind of contract with them, because these guys are still here, and they can fiddle around every year with a different contract, or every 10 years. But my brother's not here, so whatever he left in terms of a contract, they have to abide by, and we have to abide by. And years ago, like I said, do you think Kiss was really, Gene and Paul were really thinking about putting out dolls in the 80s? Nah, that kind of stuff. Merchandising was good, but it wasn't like it is now. I mean, everybody's got their hands in the pot with merchandising, so they never thought of saying, okay, sign over your name, sign over. But when you had the reunion tour with the other two guys, they knew the value of owning the images and the likenesses, and that's where they negotiated with them. That's why they put out things with the original members.
Yeah.
So it's just a question of not realizing it, I think, at that point.
Well, yeah. And I really do appreciate it that Kiss this year in the 40th anniversary tour book, they honoured Eric Carr. Eric Carr is in there, isn't he, David? In that tour memorabilia book that we got.
I think he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Oh, where is
certainly
it?
A few.
Book or something?
The Monster
tour book.
Hang on.
You mean the one that's like $600? I got to call up that one.
No.
The actual tour.
That Monster book is about $4,500. No, I'm not getting that.
Oh, that one? Yeah, because I'd probably have to pay double if I called them, I don't pay for everything. I don't get nothing for nothing, believe me. So isn't it their tour book?
Yeah, the tour book of this year's tour. Yeah, we had a 40th anniversary tour book of the Monster tour, and Eric is in there. So they have recognized him.
Me or something in a low resolution, and just send it over to me or something when you get a chance. Just do it low res. Don't blow it out.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in there. That's kind of nice. I wish I would have got a copy from them.
Yeah, it's basically
for the money. I'll pay for it.
There's
it might be on eBay, right? They probably have them on eBay.
I think they're actually still selling them on Kiss Online.
Kiss Online, they had a Japanese one. Well, Kiss just finished the Japanese.
Basically,
so it's the Monsters tour book.
Monster tour book. It's going through kind of like the whole history through some of the pages, and it gets up to 7 from say. There's a page from 79 to 83, and he's
that's nice. That's good. That's a good thing. I'm glad they did that. That's good.
Yeah. There's
also you got the movie coming up, and my brother's going to be in that movie. I mean, there's.
Yeah. And I just want to ask a couple of questions on that movie. How are you going to how did you get approached by that, and what will be? Well, no, we want to know what will be involved, because we're going to find that out later on next year. But how did you get approached for that, and were you surprised, Loretta, that they're going to come to you and do the movie for next year?
Well, I mean, I'm glad they did. I think what happened was they went to Gene and Paul first, and they established everything they had to do with them. Mm-hmm. And, Gene and Paul told them to come to us, basically, because it's like what I said to you. We basically own the rights to my brother, so But that, it was nice that they did that anyway, because we should be involved in terms of, when it comes to my brother, who better to represent my brother than his family.
Exactly.
So they called, emailed, and they were coming to the States to see Lydia and go, film different places. And they came over. They were really nice. I mean, they stayed like a couple hours, and we really had a lot of fun. They're very sweet. Alexa and Alan's really nice, and Margarita. And we came to, some kind of agreement where I'd contribute photographs and some stories and basically maybe do some interviews for them later. But it was very nice. I'm very happy about it. I mean, it's about time. My brother should be up there on the big screen in the year 2013, and I think if he is looking down, he's saying, wow, look at me, I'm just as popular. I'm so happy I'm still here, and the fans love me still, because he always wanted to be loved, and it's amazing how he's gone 23 years, and it's almost like, he gets new fans every day. And I, attribute that to the parents who are now like 50, turning their kids on, to kids when they were born, a couple of years old. And that's the next generation that's going to carry the torch that keeps KISS going.
And David, I would love to see it coming on 3D. If they ever do a 3D release, that is, I would love to see. I'd love to see that.
That would be kind of cool, actually. Why don't you tell Gene when you see him? Are you going to see him? Why don't you try to get an interview with them?
We've tried, but because there's so many KISS podcasts around the world, I don't think they're sort of being fair that they don't want to go on one and then piss off the other and all that sort of thing, which is fair enough.
Yeah, I guess so. They go with probably the ones that are I hate to say it, but the ones that have 1 million viewers, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much, you can't cover everybody. But have you ever interviewed Bruce or anything?
Yes.
Jamie's actually interviewed. He used to do a KISS radio show and all that, and he interviewed Bruce for that. So we're currently trying to get him on the podcast at the moment. He's been busy with Grand Funk Railroad and that recently.
Yeah,
so
I mean, he's pretty nice. Bruce is accessible, it just takes him a little
Definitely,
time.
Yeah.
He's busy. But what about Lydia Chris? Why don't you interview her?
We just recently done her 3 weeks ago with Richie
Montana.
As well.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And we've interviewed.
And I've interviewed her on the radio show too. But no, I just basically the people that I've been talking to behind the scenes, there's a lot of surprises, and I don't want to run out of ideas of people who I want to talk to, because there's 40 years, there's so many stories from different people, and it's like what Paul says every time we come to Australia, we're opening him up with arms and legs. Well, David and I are not going to open our arms and legs with Paul. We're going to open the window of opportunity. If he wants to join our show, he's more welcome to join us. But when there's a window open, another one closes, or when someone closes, another one opens.
When a door when one door closes, another one's open, and that's very true saying. Yeah.
And I mean, I believe David.
I'm sorry.
I believe, David, we're the only one in Australia, the KISS-related podcast. I mean, there are other. There's a Culture Club. We won't talk about that one, but there's a Culture Club podcast here in Australia.
Yeah, I believe that we're the only KISS podcast as far as we know. But
well, that's cool. That's nice. You should be proud of yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And David, I'll be meeting you in about a couple of weeks' time again.
Yeah, my wife's birthday. Yep.
Yeah. And that,
that's
but
cool.
But as saying that, Loretta, as you mentioned before about the product of Eric Carr, it is pretty hard unless you go on ericcarr.com to find some memorabilia of Eric.
Right.
There's really not much around. You can't walk into a record store now and just buy, let's say, a photo of Eric Carr or a drumhead or
that's that's basically what I try to explain sometimes to collectors. You know, they'll say, "Oh, do you have this and do you have that?" And you know, I will sell some memorabilia, and I say to them, "Look," I says, "you know, my brother's not here to make memorabilia. You know, you have Gene and Paul and Ace and all these people. They're here. So every time they take off a shirt and throw it on the couch, it's memorabilia. Or every time they chew a piece of gum, it's my brother. What he left behind is all that's left behind.
Yeah.
So that's why it's hard to get, you know. And we try our best. This year, I'm putting out. Well, it should be out very shortly, as a matter of fact. 2 Elder figurines. They're going to be 10-inch resin models of my brother and the Elder. Yeah, they're going to be numbered. There's 150 each. Each one is hand-painted and numbered. And then I'm going to put out one early next year, Hot in the Shade. And these are all limited. These are similar to what you saw with, like, Sideshow. They're realistic.
Yep.
All right, so these are, you could tell the fans about that to come and look because they're going to be limited to 150.
Is this through?
Yeah, that's it. 150 each. That's it. Once they're gone.
And these will be available through ericcarr.com?
Yeah, I'm going to send around an email, or you'll see some on eBay or something. But tell them to come to the official site or the Facebook. And then I'm
Eric
working
Carr,
on a new drum skin card from his black animalized drum kit, which I own. And I took one of the black bass drum skins, and that's going to be on a card, like the Krazy Knights one. Remember that one? With the little piece of drum skin on it.
Yeah, they have the power.
This is going to have
symbol.
the piece of drum skin from that drum kit that he used. So that's going to be limited too. You know, I'm trying to put out as much as I can. There are a lot of nice things. I haven't updated the website yet. I have to do that. You know, I've been busy with my dad. But we got pins. We got drum skins, printed drum skins, at least 15 different ones. You know, there's a lot of stuff there. So you can tell them to come to ericcarr.com and just email me direct there, and you know, I'll try to help them out.
And just to wrap up, one more question, David, to you, David. I would just love to see them, with this movie that's coming out next year with the 3D, if they're ever going to be 3D, mind you, that drum solo on Hot in the Shade that went on for 9 minutes, that was awesome. I would love to see...
Yeah, from Lake Tour,
from Auburn Falls, I think, or Detroit?
Auburn Hills, Michigan, from
the
Palace,
that one. Seeing the light changing every time when Eric Carr hit the drums or hit the bass, the light would change on the bass head.
Yep.
See that on 3D. I reckon that would be awesome.
Well, he was working on actually some laser drumsticks at that point where they would shoot actual laser colors out of them, but he never got to finalize that. I have some, you know, artwork that he did, drawings and different stage designs he was thinking of doing. So it's unfortunate because, you know, he would have been he was an innovator, number one, and you can only imagine what he would be doing today, what he would have invented. I mean, he used the drums, the computer sound to a church organ on those solos. I mean, you don't hear stuff like that.
Those drum pads that he used to use, like on the Krazy Knights too, he had those drum pads.
Yeah, those were all programmed.
Okay. Yeah.
They were programmed into a computer, into a church organ to give that sound.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, that was not just something, you know, he didn't plan. It was worked on with him, and I'm sure some techs from the drum company. But you can only imagine what he'd have been doing today, and it's a shame because he had so much more to give. And drummers today, the 80s were phenomenal for drummers. Now the 90s and the 2000s, drummers are in the background again. Forget them; they're done. There's no more drummers like the 80s had.
Yeah. It's only say a handful of drummers that you could sort of from now from
and they're
the
all
90s
from the
that
80s.
you could guys like Mike Portnoy And
especially with the hair, especially with Eric Carr's hair. There's not many drummers like Eric now.
No, there's not. And drummers are not. Drummers in the 80s were a dominant force in the band. Now they're just once again in the background, like they've always been in history. It's always the front man now. There's no more. You remember the 80s. It was
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Everything was the drummers, Metallica, my brother, all the ones you talk of, Rush and all these people, and they were the main characters. Yeah. That's what the fans loved, but not anymore. They're in the background again. They don't really have that identity like they used to.
Well, especially like on the Creatures of the Night, and also early Lick It Up when they used the tank.
Oh yeah.
And Eric's, that was just awesome. If
great.
they brought that back into the stage now, like into the stage set now,
right?
They brought back, something similar from, what was it? The Animalized. It wasn't actually the Animalized set, but when they're coming down the rafters, the light rafters, David.
They did use the Animalized stage a little bit on the when they came out here in '95 on the Japanese leg of the tour. They used, I think, and I think in Osaka or something they actually used the Animalized stage. Maybe because of the size of the venue, they decided to use.
Funny you say that, David. Just recently, it looks like Kiss are putting some stuff of the Animalized in their set, not the stage. If you saw the Budokan Night 1 just recently, 2 nights ago, or 3 nights ago, remember when Gene used to play the bass solo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This bass solo is similar to the 1984 an Animalized type of bass solo.
Oh, okay.
He'd done the solo like that before the blood spit.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's because, you got to remember, you got, like I said, you got a new generation of Kiss fans.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Kiss fans that are out now, that are 19 and 20, they don't even remember half that stuff that was out. They were young, so you could push a lot of the old things on them, and it's all new to them.
Yeah.
That's why they still milk creatures. They can really, everybody likes creature blankets and creature this and creature that. That'll never die, that stuff. Everybody is into that. No matter what generation.
I'd like to see them bring some of the Asylum stuff back into the show.
That was a comical time. The outfits, my brother looked like he was wearing a mascara, it looked like a little girl, but... but at least they were colorful.
It was meant in terms of the songs.
If they didn't do anything...
Yeah.
No, if they didn't do anything, people would say they're dull. So whenever you think of Kiss, even though, Asylum was kind of comical to a degree, it still was colorful. It was everything they did was different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even now, they're not really touching much on the 80s or even the early 90s in their set list. They're not really recognizing that. And I feel it's a shame because even though they play Lick It Up or Heaven's on Fire, but what about Creatures of the Night? What about Exciter or Tears Are Falling or something like that? Something that we haven't heard in a while. And to recognize...
it's boring to listen to the same stuff over and over.
Yeah.
Very boring,
just recently at a meet and greet at Budokan again, they played Hide Your Heart acoustically. Now, I know for a fact Hide Your Heart has never been played live.
Right.
But
acoustic... Except for the Hot in the Shade tour.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the Hot in the Shade. But they haven't recognized the 90s or early 90s or even the 80s now since the reformation of Kiss. They've gone up to the reunion, and that was basically it. I remember we used to hear No 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 a lot on the set list. We used to hear Not for the Innocent or... Yeah.
They're trying to you got to remember, again, what I go back to is they're trying to establish the 4 originals as the band.
Yeah.
And that's what they want to go forward with. They don't want to mix it in with anything. That's going to be their identity. So, even in concerts they do that. But, I mean, it'd probably be refreshing, to hear some songs that the fans never heard in years. Because, like I said, it's like anything else. When you're listening to, when I was in the 80s and I kept hearing the same songs, after a while it gets boring.
It does.
But now they have such a repertoire of things that they could play, 4 songs from each era, and nobody would ever get bored.
Exactly.
Well, that's right, because even now for Black Diamond, they're doing the animalized ending of Black Diamond, the way that Eric used to play it in Animalized as well. That ending, they playing that. And
they do that still, right? Black Diamond at the end or something?
Eric. Yeah, they have Eric sing it.
Well, that's a classic. Yeah, that's something you got to end with. I mean, it's a great song if you never get sick of it. But like you said, Creatures of the Night, such a great song, and I Love It Loud. Do they do that?
Yes, they still do that with War Machine as well.
They haven't played Creatures of the Night for quite a while.
No, they haven't played that since 2004.
No.
Didn't Vinnie Vincent write that?
Did
Vinnie Vincent write that song?
Hang on, I think he might have. He might have
had a hand. Don't know,
True.
There's a lot of technicalities. You got to pay people when you play their songs on tour. You just can't play them. Maybe they're at odds with him. I don't know. They never got along, any of them, like that, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think that. Ace is in the movie too, but I don't think he wanted to be a part of it, or neither did Peter.
I think they're using archival footage with those
That's
two.
That's so bad. I wish they would have. I really do. I wish they would have. I really do.
Yeah. Well, with Ace and Peter, the doors haven't really closed on them as such, but for what we know, they don't want nothing to do with it. They have been offered.
Yeah, it's a shame, because you got to put that behind you. I mean, so what if you don't like somebody? It's not about them. It's about you, and just do it. Maybe the fans want to hear from you, and you don't have to sit with them and be interviewed. You do it in your room.
Yeah, exactly.
That's their prerogative,
It was like 2 days ago. It was like 2-3 days ago. Ace and Peter were on the same stage for the very first time together in 13 years. What was said behind the dressing room doors, I have got a photo, and I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Maybe they sorted something out, who knows, but yeah, they played together for the very first time in 13 years, both Ace and Peter. I was surprised. I think, David, you were surprised, even though it
was always going to happen. They have their
that's it. You got to put that behind you and go forward.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie is a tribute to all the members, and they should be there. In terms of that, without them there would have been no Kiss, and they deserve to be there. They should be proud of what they did. But how do you figure? You know what I mean? Everybody, you can't speak for other people. What I think is, I would have been insulted if my brother wasn't represented.
Yeah.
But other people don't care.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for your brother coming in 1980, I mean, the band had basically, as you said, broken up at that stage. And
I say
brother came
the
in and helped.
There was no 90s.
Exactly.
Without the 80s, there's no 90s, and that's it.
It's
and without the 90s, there's no 2000. But in the 90s, the band shifted a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same members. You tried the reunion later. They had Revenge, which I thought was a terrific album, and then it didn't quite make it. They didn't. So my brother was missed, and they had to do something different, and they did it. But without those, eras, including the 90s, they wouldn't be where they are today.
Yeah. And,
so
this for a fact, you know this for fact too, David, that every time Kiss came to Australia since 1980 to at least 2003, they've always had a different lineup. They've always had a different member in the lineup.
That's right. So that's why it didn't it was a transition period for them, you know. But
we would have loved to. We would have loved to see them more in the 80s, but it never happened. So
I mean, there was always rumours during the 80s about them coming out here. I think there was around Heavens Animalised. They were rumored to come out, and then Krazy Knights again. But then there was the right at the start of the Hot and Shade tour. There was the rumour, and actually the tickets went on sale for it too. The concert out at Wallen, this 2 or 3 day concert, which Kiss sort of meant to be headlining, and with Joe Cocker and I think In Excess and all that. But obviously then I don't know, probably Kiss never got told about it from what I heard. But there was always the rumours there until they came out again in '95 for the Kiss My Ass Down Under tour. There was always rumours, but never happened.
Were they there already in Australia this year?
Yeah, they were here. They were here in the start of March with
end of February.
End of February. They were here already this year, right?
Yeah, they were here for the Monster tour with Motley Crue and Thin Lizzy.
And there's a big rumour. There's a big rumour that they might be here in the next 12 months, but we're not going to speculate it till it's been confirmed on Kiss Online. Yeah.
They might be, you know, depending on how their tour goes, you know.
Yeah.
But they still have the energy, you know. You wonder how long they can endure that physical, you know, you got to remember they're in their 60s. It's hard to believe, but...
Yeah, like mid to
old enough to be a
50s,
father, huh?
Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Jean's what, 65, right? Isn't Jean 65?
64 now? It's 2013.
My brother would have been 63, right? Mm-hmm. He would have been 63.
Yeah.
And I think Gene was a little older than him. Yeah, so they're up there. You got to hand it to them. The way they jump around.
I mean, to be able to do it for this long and
and
still do it, and still do it to a high level as they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let me get going because I think you want to put me to bed, don't you? You want to tuck me in, I think, you guys.
No. We could talk for hours.
I'm not young like you, you know. I'm ready. Now my highlight of my day is going to sleep. That's like great, you know.
No, it's so good. Right. It's so good. But Loretta Carr, we could talk for hours, but no, it's been an absolute pleasure. And
I just want to tell the fans, let me just give a little thank you to everybody in Australia. Mm-hmm. A big one, because let me tell you guys, my brother loved you. He did. He saved all your letters, and that's all he ever talked about was his favorite place. Because you made him feel, you know, at home, and if he would have started anywhere else, it wouldn't have happened the way it did. So thank you all, and visit me at ericcarr.com, and these guys are great that have this podcast, so you better listen to it.
Yeah.
And thank you thank you for joining us again, Loretta. It's been a pleasure for both of us. And
me too. Thank you. I enjoyed it a lot. And I mean, it's the kind of thing where, you know, you could talk for hours, but, you know, your audience will probably be in bed by the time we're done, you know. And it's a conversation, and it's very nice to hear from everybody. And call me again and keep in touch with me. And if you need anything, you know where I'm at. Easy to find me.
Yeah, we will. And we want to say thank you, and please look after yourself, and we'll get in touch very, very shortly.
And best,
thank you.
And best wishes to your father as well. Hope for good health.
That'll be, I'll tell him you gave him his regards, and you know, he's an old man and he's still rocking, so. You know, when God wants him, he takes him, you know, and that's the way life is, you know?
Yeah.
All right, Loretta. Thank you very, very much, and we'll keep in touch very shortly.
Okay, thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night, Loretta.
Bye-bye.
Well, Dave, there you have it. The awesome Loretta Carravello, the sister of Eric Carr. And we came back to the video now, so they can see us again. No, great stories, especially how he loved Australia. He always loved Australia. Just a shame that they couldn't tour much in Australia as much as they wanted to.
Yeah, especially during the 80s and everything. But yeah, it was. She's a very sweet woman, as I must say. And it was good to finally be able to tell her my story about receiving the card from her after Eric passed away. Finally
came from the family too.
Yeah, got it from Loretta herself, which is very nice, and it's very touching. So
now, David, the fans want you to do some homework, especially me.
You want me to find it. Hopefully it hasn't been lost, or I'll be absolutely bloody shattered. So I've moved ever since I got it. I've moved a few times, so hoping I haven't lost it. So I will be endeavouring to find it to let you see it. But yes, I did receive it. Yep. As I said in the interview, Loretta and I had a mutual friend at the time. That's how I ended up, getting involved in the whole memorial thing for Eric Carr and all that. So, and then eventually getting that card from Loretta. So yeah, I will endeavour to find it. Just got to go through all my stuff. It could be a few weeks until I find it.
I'm actually going to do one thing, Dave. I'm actually going to show that guitar pick that I mentioned in the thing.
Yeah. Cool.
If the producer can get me the guitar pick bags that I've got, and remember, there was a promo pick for Rockology, and it's in a round circle. The producer's in a round circle with a white thing with a round circle.
Looks like more like a bass pick too.
Yeah, I have got it. As you know, I've got a Canadian Monster tour here.
Oh, nice. Where'd you get that from?
I have a friend of mine in Canada that sent it to me.
Nice. Cool.
That's one of my gifts I've got from a person from Canada. That's a red Monster Northern American guitar pick. And as they know,
I have to see if I can get one of those from the Kiss Pick World. It's Gene's one too.
It's a red one.
Yeah, Gene. It's a Gene one too.
And
I haven't got a Gene pick yet. I've got Paul picks and Bruce picks. Nice.
There's a
nice.
Rockology
It's a bit fuzzy. Yeah.
And there it is, Eric Carr. This is his bass pick that he played on the Rockology, and this is the promo picks that Loretta Carravello was talking about. That there were some promo picks. There was a white one and there was another colour. There was only a few or so made, and I've managed to get one 3 years ago. And this is the treasure. It has not left this circle, and it will not ever leave the circle. But yeah, and as you know, David, I've got all these guitar picks in here.
Yeah.
Collected over the years. So, but no, that's one of the top ones I've got. I have got an Eric Carr one. And whatnot. Also, David, before we get going, I want to. So I'm still getting stuff thrown at me. So I've got another plastic thing here, and that. Oh, yeah. She wants me to put it in the bag, so I'm gonna put it in the bag after the show. But last night, David, I did something very, very worthwhile. It's a great cause. Breast Cancer Awareness Week, and up at the local tavern that I go to every Saturday night, was raising awareness for breast cancer and a fundraiser, and it was the Glenn McGrath Foundation, and I want to say thank you to Woodcroft Tavern that put it on. We've got a photo of myself and a mate of mine here in Adelaide dressed up as the Dress to Kill type of version of Kiss in pink wigs and pink makeup. We're doing Kiss for Pink. We do have a Miss Star Child. We're just waiting for a photo to come through, and we're going to put that up on Kiss Online. I believe all up we raised over 2 nights. On the Friday night they started, and last night over about $2,000. So it was a great raise. The bar staff also, there was a part in the show last night that the people raised $100 odd to get one of the bar staff to sing, and they sang "Raining Man" from Jerry Halliwell. So it's all
nice.
All good for a good cause, and yeah, as you can see, I've got no goatee. That's one of the reasons why. And you know, today, earlier on today, David was saying that he wants to put on Eric Carr's makeup, and unfortunately, he doesn't have the makeup. But he got the hair.
No.
Definitely got the hair.
Okay, I could. Yeah, if I had the makeup, I would. We could possibly, Jamie and I actually been on during the interview, a video with the makeup on. We both could have done the Eric Carr thing.
Yeah.
And it would have been cool. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have the makeup, so oh well.
And I want to say thank you to all the fans that were concerned about my hay fever. Yes, it's still playing up. I've still got my medication, but I'm feeling a lot better now. I can smell great food cooking at the moment. I can smell it. So a couple of weeks ago, I sounded like a chipmunk. My nose was all blocked and whatnot. But right now, I can smell food. That's great. So it's making me hungry. But you know, yes, it is Kiss food. It's like a rockin' brews here in David. The producers like watching these cooking shows. So when you come over, you'll see all the food that we can cook. So and the smell and all the aroma. But yeah, my nose is getting better. The sinus is getting better, and I just can't wait to see David in a couple of weeks' time. We're going to have an awesome time. There's going to be a great few more laughs, and yeah, so there is a concert. We're not going to tell the fans who the concert is. No, we're going to see a band that open up for Kiss on the farewell tour called the Screaming Jets.
Yeah, Screaming Jets. Yes,
we're going to see that.
Also, before we go, just a gig coming up for all people in Melbourne. There's Kiss tribute band Kiss Destroyer is playing a show on Thursday, October 31st. Halloween show at the Colonial Hotel, which is at the corner of King and Lonsdale Streets here in Melbourne. It starts at 9 p.m. It says here, dress up or die. It actually gives you $5 off the entry fee if you dress up in in Kiss costume, or I suppose, or any Halloween costume. But and there'll be drink specials all night. $2 pots, $2 cheap shots, $4 basic spirits, and $7 Jaeger bombs. So get along there and see a Kiss Destroyer if you're here in Melbourne on this Thursday. Exactly.
Drive. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I haven't seen Kiss Destroyer for about 2 years now. The guys know who I am. I will be coming back to Melbourne one day to see you guys. I know the fans from Kiss Destroyer, the army of the Kiss Destroyer fan base, been asking me, David, when you're coming back for another Kiss Destroyer gig. I'll say this now to the fans. I will be back as soon as I can. I will be there for David in a couple of weeks, and unfortunately there's no gigs around at the time. But if you want to see me in 2 weeks' time, come down to the Corner Hotel, say hello. If you are going to the Screaming Jets concert, come up and say hi to David and I, and give us some great positive feedback about the podcast, or if you want to have a nice cold drink.
And just buy us a beer.
Yeah, buy us a beer. Or a cold gin, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, just come up and say hi. You know who we are. We know who you guys are. And every time I come to Melbourne, I get swamped. But yeah, come and say hi. And whatnot. And like I said, just to wrap up, I will be back to see Kiss Destroyer with my wonderful wife-to-be next year. Oh yeah, I will say this. We will be sending out some invitations very shortly for the guests of honour, the guests for the wedding. That will be all planned out. Yes, I'm getting married next year, and
yay!
It's about bloody time too. It's about bloody time too. But no, yeah, I'm getting married next year, and also hopefully we go on a Kiss Cruise 4, whether it'll be here in Australia with there's been speculation, or over in Miami, we'll try and get our butts on there, and we'll parade with the Krazy Knights t-shirts and whatnot, and yeah, we're going to have a great time. So the next 12 months is going to look pretty challenging, and also I cannot wait, and David will be coming over for that as well, with his wonderful wife as well, and
it will be.
Just one thing, fans, if you don't know by now, when I do go to Melbourne all the time, his beautiful wife makes up these nachos that I can never believe. So,
he's going on about the nachos again.
So I'll be putting the money in for the nachos this time, and yeah. And like I said, the nachos, the peri-peri chicken. We had some other things.
We'll have to start going for Jamie going, nacho man. I want to be a nacho man.
Yeah. And then if you see me doing the YMCA, you know why. But no, I'll be seeing David in a couple of weeks' time, and we'll be doing a show. Hopefully, if we can get all this audio stuff working. It didn't work last time, and yeah, I had to do it when I come home. But guys, there you have it. We have Loretta Carravello. We want to say thank you to ericcarr.com for allowing this to happen as well. Please go and check the official Eric Carr Facebook page. We're going to put the link up on our page for people to go over there, the fans to go over there. And also, please spread the news of us. Share this interview with other fans. It's a tribute to Eric Carr, and we're going to do another one next month, close to his anniversary of his death. We're going to do another whole Eric Carr episode. You never know, we might get Loretta Carr back on for that one as well, David. We never know. But, yeah, that was our tribute to Eric Carr. We know you guys love Eric Carr, and, yeah, not a bad word has been said about Eric Carr as far as I know.
And you'll never hear a bad word about Eric. Yep. He's one of the probably the nicest guys that ever in the rock industry.
Yeah. Well, this has been a long episode. We had to do it. This was planned a month in advance, and we want to say, please leave us a comment, leave us a review, share it, spread it, and. Yeah, we want to say thank you to all the fans and also to Loretta Carr for doing this. All right, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys. We've got to get cruising. It's been a long day for us. And, yeah, I'm sorry we had to do the audio. It's understandable that we're ringing a phone line, and that's how it is. But, no, you'll see us next week. Another video episode of Krazy Knights. David, it's been an absolutely awesome day here.
Yeah, exactly, and I was very much looking forward to this interview, and glad we got it.
Yep, and also if you haven't listened to the other episodes, please also do. We had a couple of people saying, "Where was this episode for this week?" This is week. This is the big.
We just wanted to prepare a little bit for this one. And I was having technical during the week. I was having difficulties with my internet, which is why we didn't do the episode, last week and all that. So we just had left it until this one. So we'll get everything running properly.
Yep. And just one last thing before we go, David. I must say this to everyone that was affected by the bushfires in New South Wales. Our hearts go out to them.
Exactly, all the KISS fans in New South Wales. We hope you well and stay safe, and we're all thinking of you.
Yep, and it was terrible. It was tragic.
Yeah,
that type of year. But our hearts go out to all of them, and we're not hard people. We do things. I mean, David knows me. I'll do breast cancer or do something to raise awareness or to support anybody, and most of the time I joke around, take the piss out of people, but it comes back as a genuine person, and that's all I am. So guys, our hearts go out to you. We'll tip our hats off to the firefighters, the volunteer workers, and the SFS and all those type of things. Our hats be tipped off to you. So Krazy Knights will salute you, And yeah. All right, David, we better get going. It's been a long
day.
And guys, please check it out. And you never know, we might have some more surprises coming up as months and weeks go by. All right, guys, catch you later.